Part of my job at Heritage is that I canvass every other Sunday. And so when it was my team's turn to go out, I was excited because we hadn't had a chance to canvass yet, and I hadn't canvassed for several months over the summer, so I was excited to go out. And there were several in our team who hadn't canvassed before, and so we were being put together so that we could teach other people how to canvass. And I was put with Mario. And so we were going out together, and we'd done about 2 or 3 streets, and we still hadn't gotten any books. We'd gotten a few donations, but there wasn't really anybody home. We'd only canvassed about 5 people, and that was it. You know, after a while, I started to get really hot and thirsty and sort of discouraged because we hadn't gotten anything yet. But I kept praying, and I started claiming promises. And one thing I remembered was when Life was here and we were having the Bible studies, we were talking something about John the Baptist and how lots of crowds came to hear him speak. And we were asked the question, why did lots of people come to him? And it was because they were attracted to Jesus and John that they could see. So I prayed that people in their houses would be attracted to Jesus and me. And so we kept on going, and still we hadn't gotten anything. And Mario said that, you know, maybe God is doing this, and then later we'll have a divine appointment. And I said yes, but then I was really thinking whatever, because so many times I've said that to myself and nothing has happened. So I didn't really think anything. And then Vlasta picked us up and took us to another street, and we started going to the houses, and there was one man who answered the door, and he was really rude and everything. And so we left the house, and I was sort of discouraged, but then we went to the next house and knocked on the door, and no one answered. So we started walking away, and we were about halfway across the lawn, and the lady opened the door. And she couldn't see us, and we couldn't see her either, but we could hear her, and she was saying, hello, hello. And so Mario and I looked at each other, and we were saying, you know, should we go back to the house, or should we just keep going? But then we just decided we would go back to the house. And so we got to the door, and we started canvassing her. I just said the opening part of the canvas. And then she was sort of just looking us up and down, and she looked at us and she said, what church are you from? And I said, well, we're from Heritage Academy, and we're Seventh-day Adventists. And she said, oh, I was raised Adventist. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so she asked us about the books, whether there were just 2 kinds of books. And so I started showing them to her. And there was about 6 I showed her, and she was like, okay, I'll just get all the books you just showed me. And so she went back into the house to get her checkbook, and I told Mario to get the rest of the books out of the bag as well, since she was so interested. And so she came back, and we showed her all those other books too. And she was really interested, and she chose all the books in our bag except one, which was 11 books that she was going to buy. And we were there for probably 20 or 30 minutes, and she was telling us how she was Adventist before, and she raised her kids Adventist, and she left the church, but now she wanted to go back. And so we were discussing different churches in the neighborhood and things like that. And we shared some Bible verses with her, and we were talking about Heritage, and Mario told her about his experience when Life came and did all the Bible studies with us. And I was really happy that she got all those books, but also that she was so enthusiastic about all this, and that she had been wanting to go back to church, and then we had come. And one thing she told us was that this really made her day that we had come, and that she could see the light of God in us. And that really made me happy, because I had prayed that people would be able to see Jesus in us when we went to these houses. And so she got, I think, 2 cookbooks and 3 children's books and 3 message books, and then 2 health books as well. And so it was a really encouraging experience, and I could really see God's power and God working through us. Even when things seem to be not going the best or how you want it to, just keep praying and have faith. And God may not always answer you straight away, but eventually He will, and His plan is always the best.